The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up just ahead on You Have Real Estate. You want to invest in real estate? Good idea, but where should you invest? Also, you buy some investment property. Should you handle the rental yourself or have property management do it? It's just ahead. It's You Have Real Estate.
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
You Have Real Estate is proudly sponsored by Renewal by Anderson, your full-service window and door replacement company. Learn more at rbafla.com.
Welcome to You Have Real Estate, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. I am your host, Justin Clark. A wonderful, very important show ahead for you today, but first, the opening statement. You know, this real estate economy, a little bit weird. There was so much positivity up until maybe beginning of this year. Then people got a little bit scared. Real estate agents got scared. Buyers and sellers have even been on the fence a little bit lately, mostly because of the interest rates going up. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been now feeling a lot of optimism. I think a lot of people believe the interest rates are going to go down. And as I talk to people in the real estate world, I think optimistic is the best way I can describe it. But you're still sitting on the fence, and I get this question all the time. Justin, a lot of unknowns. Should I rent or should I buy? Wonderful questions, and questions that we're going to answer by asking real questions. Every weekend here on the program, we ask real questions to the trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Very happy to get it kicked off today with the Prince and Princess of HD Realty, Jason, Nicole Anderson. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you?
Good.
I've met your dad, Jeff, on the show before. Great guy. Created a wonderful business over at HD. What, almost 50 years you guys have been in business?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. And let's get right into this market right now, the residential real estate market. You handle a lot of the sales there, Jason. I know you do the property management.
Yes.
Nicole, what are you seeing? What are you feeling down in the trenches with the real estate market? And you can be honest.
It's starting to slow down a little bit. Interest rates, they're up and they're down. But for our clients, we don't see buyers not buying and sellers not selling.
Yeah. So when people are sitting on the fence, or you're talking to someone who's thinking about buying or thinking about renting, I think you guys are very, situated in a good place because you deal with so many rentals. You obviously deal with purchases. What goes into that decision? Do I rent or buy? What do I think about when I'm making that decision?
Well, when you buy, you build equity. So that's the most important.
Yeah.
When you rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage payment. I mean, there's not really an advantage.
Sure. And you do the property management, so you obviously work with a lot of people who own investment real estate.
Correct.
What are you hearing from your investors right now? What are they saying?
They're staying on the fences, wanting to buy more properties, but kind of holding down, just seeing how the year goes, to seeing if they're wanting to add their portfolio or keep kind of where they're at right now.
I've been hearing a lot about, obviously, rental prices being so high in the Central Florida area over the last really 3 or 4 years. What are you seeing with rental prices in this market?
Rental prices have definitely increased, and unfortunately it's had to because of the owners' taxes and insurances have gone up.
Sure, they definitely have. Now, what do you see happening with the rental rates through the end of this year, maybe into next year?
I see them going up some, maybe not as much, but it just kind of depends on where the market hits and how it goes.
Got it. Now, a lot of people who own investment real estate, even if you own one house, you have to make another decision. The decision is, do I rent it myself? Do I handle all these headaches? Or do I hire a property manager like you to handle the rental? How does someone make that decision?
And like I explained to everybody as well too, with that doing all their headaches, going through the tenants that don't pay on time, or going through that eviction process, anything or an issue even into the house. That's the parts that we take care of for that client. Like I said, we have vendors that take care of it. We have the process that we know what needs to be done to make that owner as much money as possible for their investment property.
Yeah, I always tell people, if you have 2, but even if you have 1 rental property, you really need to look into a property manager. Right. And I see it like this too, Jason. there's an expense to it, but it's really not that big of an expense.
No.
And number two, I think that expense oftentimes is offset by your relationship with vendors and the money that you can save. If something goes wrong in the house, you're going to save the money because you work with these vendors all the time.
Exactly.
So I think having a property manager is an absolutely wonderful thing to do. There's just so many things you don't know, whether the lease agreement, the AC goes bad, whose responsibility. It's very nice to have a property manager by your side to deal with all of these, no offense, 2 a.m. phone calls that Correct. Jason gets that maybe you're not going to get.
Right.
What areas do you work in mostly?
Mostly Seminole County.
Seminole
a little
County.
bit into Orange, a little bit into Volusia.
Yeah. How does Seminole County real estate compare price-wise to say, Orange County and some of the other local counties?
It's a higher price.
You
but
think
it's
so?
more of a desire to live in Seminole County.
Got it. So interest rates, I think the interest rates are really driving this real estate economy in a lot of ways. As they tend to do, the rates have obviously gone up. What is your instinct telling you about interest rates over the rest of the year?
I think they'll stay stagnant where they are.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we're going to find out. Now, working with a team like you, brother and sister, obviously, property management he has covered. You have the purchase and sale side of things. How does it help having that when you work with investors, when you have the property management team by your side?
We work together with everything, and we both own investment property too.
Do you now?
Yes.
Okay.
We both own 2 investment properties of our own together.
Rich people. You're buying dinner. You're buying dinner or lunch after the show. I'm good with that. How is Dad doing, by the way? Dad's been on the show.
Dad's doing great.
Good.
Wonderful guy. I hear he likes to spend some time on a farm sometimes. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
in Ohio.
Must be nice. How did you two decide, as your dad's obviously son and daughter, to follow his footsteps into real estate?
I knew growing up in the business, and we were always around it. That's something that I wanted to do.
Yeah. Jason?
So when I started wanting to do property management, one, I didn't really want to go to college. That's not my expertise.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to do before getting my license is to learn every step into every vendor and every situation that could happen in a house.
Yep.
So I went to starting actually working with the vendors that work for HD Realty as well and still do today. So I wanted to learn that process so that I can also explain to the investors, hey, this is what needs to be done, and I know the process on doing that.
Good for you. I like it. I like that story. Now, a listing right now that has really recently come on the market. This is in Sanford, 185. What is it? I can't read my handwriting.
River Oaks Place.
River Oaks Place. Tell me about this property, Nicole.
It's a 4-2, recently renovated, and it has deeded access to the Ocala River.
Oh, that's important, right?
Yep, and it's on over an acre. The backyard is huge.
So where is this in the Sanford area? How would you describe this area?
Right off of 46.
Okay.
Before you get into Lake County.
How does that access to the river affect the value of this property, would you say?
I think it increases the value.
Is it like you can take a canoe out there or what?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yep.
right? What a beautiful piece of property. And if you'd like to see this property, I know Nicole would be happy to show it to you today. The phone number's right here on the screen, 407-205-0400. Tell Dad I said hi, Jason, Nicole. So good to have you on the program. Come back anytime, okay?
Not a problem.
Here's what we're going to do. Quick break. When we return, Vivian's in your neighborhood, and this one's a little bit special for a man right behind the camera over there. He knows this neighborhood so well. As You Have Real Estate continues. Do you have allergies? Do your children have allergies? Well, at least you know in your home you are safe from allergies, right? No, you're not. The windows in your home can be giving allergies a major boost to your family, and this is very scary. Dan Brigman's here, Renewal by Anderson. You think when you're in your house, you're safe from all this outdoor stuff. But you're not.
You're absolutely right. You think so, but what we've learned is as the season gets warmer and these allergies start to come out, what also happens is our AC runs a lot more, right? When your AC runs, remember, there's a return in the house. It's sucking air from somewhere. If you have broken seals in your window, that pollen, those allergenic, anything can be pulled through there, and the more that AC is running, the more those allergies that are coming into your home, and therefore you're waking up stuffed up.
Get your windows checked out. QR code is on the screen right now. You talk about AC, though. When I hear my AC running, I immediately think my electricity bill. Oh, my gosh, it's that time of year where I have to pay a ton of money to my electricity bill. Windows, though, contribute to that bill as well.
100%. It's time to put a stop to the high energy bills. You have to. And there's a lot of other reasons to make the investment, but that's one of the biggest ones. What will happen is when you replace these windows, which equate to about 25% of the square foot of your home, that's a lot of glass. That's one whole wall of the house. All of that sun beating in, and on even the chilly days, that heat that you have inside going out, that will reduce your energy bill somewhere between the neighborhood of 20 and 30%. In most cases, will reduce that payment enough to pay for the windows themselves.
I love it, Dan. Thank you. Great job as always. Do yourself a favor. Check out your windows today with Renewal by Anderson. Welcome back to the show. Thanks to our great friends at Universal Roof and Contract, and they send Viv to your neighborhood every week. This week, we're going to the city. This is the place where Tyson Fiore lives, hangs out, you know, the whole shebang. Viv's in your neighborhood today in Baldwin Park.
I'm visiting Baldwin Park today, and it's unique because it doesn't have an old history like most other neighborhoods in Orlando. Situated between downtown Orlando and Winter Park, it was used for military purposes from World War II until the 1990s, when the Orlando Army Air Station was established. Now it's turned into a thriving community with an urban and suburban feel. This concept community, established in 2003, has several housing options, including single-family homes, townhouses, and apartments. It has highly rated public schools and hosts a population of roughly 15,000 with a mix of young professionals and families. It's home to many cool restaurants, coffee shops, and of course a Publix, which dominates the town center. The median household income is about $125,000. The median home price in 2023 was about $800,000. Baldwin Lake and the many scenic parks that surround this neighborhood are great venues for the many cultural events, holiday parties, and food festivals that it hosts. Because of the varied housing options and having everything within walking distance, I've had many homeowners say that if they sell, they would buy here again when they decide to up or downsize in the future. With its proximity to downtown Orlando and the many events along with its charming streets and cafes, I now understand why. If you want more information on Baldwin Park, don't hesitate to contact me, Vivian Lehman, at 407-205-0400.
Thank you, Viv, and to all you city folk there. And a lot of people feeling priced out of the city, so to speak. What do you do? So you have to make the decision, buy versus rent, or do you move somewhere more affordable? Great question. Questions that I think that these two are here to answer. Christine Graf is here. Steffi Graf. Did I say it right or wrong?
You said it perfect.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Elisha Lopez is here. Hi, Elisha. How are you?
Good.
Ocala, Lake County, Howie-In-The-Hills, right? And this is the thing. A lot of people feel like they cannot purchase real estate because they're like, well, I want to be in Winter Park. I can't afford Winter Park. Sometimes if you just look a little bit further outside of your bubble, you can actually still buy a house that is affordable. Just like, and we're going to have the debate about what's better, Howie-In-The-Hills versus Ocala in a minute, don't you worry.
Well, and I used to live in Ocala, so it's going to be a tough choice for me.
It's going to be tough. You're going to have to make a decision, though. Let's talk about it, right? Because a lot of people are moving up to Marion County, from Orlando to Marion County, just like you 20-something years ago from Miami to Marion County. What is the affordability factor like in Marion County today?
It's still about 40% less than most of Florida.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And booming, though. I mean, Ocala is booming. Every article I read, even the articles that are negative about Florida real estate, are always positive about Ocala real estate. What are you seeing really down in the trenches right now?
It's just busy. I mean, it's been harder to get buyers approved, but they're out there. I mean, buyers still, they really want to buy. So as the rates continue to go down a little bit, that's a Dallas question.
He threatened us before the show about that.
Yes.
So, all right, you're a little bit further out, obviously. Same with Lake County, right? You're a little bit further out, but also a beautiful part of the world, just like Ocala, Howie-In-The-Hills. What's the affordability factor like there?
Well, I think that you really can get, you know, bigger lots, just more bang for your buck in general. The listing that I brought today is in a golf community. You know, it's a whole different price point where you just really get a lot for your money.
Yeah. Let's talk about then this whole buy versus rent, because you know, a lot of people feel priced out. Certainly now with the rates going up, they're like, well, I'll just rent, I'll keep renting, I've never really bought a house, it's scary. When someone that you're working with is thinking about buying versus renting, how does that conversation go?
Well, for me personally, maybe I have to give a little bit of a background story. I'm from Austria, and it's very common to rent, and not because everybody wants to rent, but because you just have to. It's very hard to even establish, enough credit that you can buy. You have to have 50% down, So for me personally, I think owning real estate is a luxury itself, and while you should go after it, unless it has a different reason that you are being relocated, and your company pays for your rent or something like that. But for me personally, being able to own real estate is just the biggest gift.
Yeah, when you're working with a buyer who's making the decision, buy versus rent, what do you say to them?
Well, we'll get a lot of calls daily for people looking to rent, and we say, well, have you ever thought about purchasing? Because for the same first, last, and security, it could be your down payment to get into a property that's your own, so you don't have to worry about every year renewing a lease and having to move.
Yeah.
So security.
I think a lot about, yes, I get it. Everyone will be like, oh, why would you pay someone else's mortgage? That's what you're doing, you're renting. And that's true. But then you also think about you're also developing wealth for your family, because if you're going to live there for a while, inevitably at some point the house is going to be worth more than you owe, and really that becomes a little bit of a nest egg, almost a savings account for someone who owns a home.
Absolutely, and it's kind of like you're getting your money back in the end. With rent, you don't get it back; it's just gone. But then you're not just getting it back; you're also multiplying it at the same time.
Yeah. And I want to talk to you guys, but the last thing I would say, because I've had this conversation with you before about buy versus rent, you're like, well, I'm afraid of that commitment, because I really care about my family. I'm afraid of the commitment about buying a house. Think about this. If something goes awry in your financial life and you buy a house, right? You can't pay for a few months. I hope that doesn't happen, of course, but it does. Sometimes we lose our job and run out of money. If you can't pay your mortgage, what happens? The bank has to foreclose on you, right? That's a year and a half, 2 years that you can figure things out. If you're renting, what happens? You can't pay your rent. What happens to you then? You're evicted. You're booted out 30 days, 15 days, whatever it is. It's actually safer to buy in a lot of ways, and I don't think people think about it that way. All right, Howie-In-The-Hills versus Ocala. She's lived in both.
I did.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I love Ocala too. We came, that's hard. No, but Lake County is so beautiful because of all the lakes. It really has, it's a very different vibe. We have a lot of nature trails as well. So in that regard, I think they're both similar. Nature plays a big role, and lots are often bigger, and everything is a little slower, I would say. Although if you go at 200, it's not slow. Right. And if you're on 441, it's not slow. So it depends on where you are, of course. But in general, compared to other areas like Windermere, when we see people moving into Lake County, because they, not only the affordability, also the traffic. So we see people moving out of Windermere, going into Bella Colina, something like that, or coming even further up north.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of great things about Ocala as well. What makes you love Ocala?
It's just quiet. I know there's a lot of traffic, they say now, but coming from and growing up in Miami,
it's nothing.
They don't know what traffic is. It's just it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, I understand when you've lived like out in the country for a really long time, I guess it is kind of traffic, but compared to the bigger cities, it's really not. And we're kind of neighbors, really, and I have to pass through on my way home every day from here, so yeah.
Interestingly enough, last week we showed a farm from a seller that you have who likes to watch this program. Similar issue for you, Christine. Tell me about this listing.
So it's a gorgeous lakefront listing in a golf community. And it's 3,100 square feet, just a little shy of 3,100 square feet, completely remodeled, a very tastefully updated home with a huge entertainer kitchen, 9x4 quartz waterfall edge, countertop. It has a saltwater pool. It has its own boat dock with a 6,000-pound lift. And you are right in the golf community, but because you're on the lakefront side, you don't deal with all the stray golf balls in your backyard, which is perfect.
That's beautiful.
But you're only a few steps away from the clubhouse.
And again, if you're in Howie-In-The-Hills, not too far from JB Boondocks as well. You're welcome, Sabatini family. If you would like to see some real estate right now in Lake County or in Marion County, Levy County, the phone number is right here on the screen, 407-205-0400. And these ladies would be happy to talk to you about and give you honest opinions about the buy versus rent debate, because we understand, we live in this world. We understand. I mean, we've all been there. We understand what goes into this decision, and we realize it's a very important decision for you. Call us. I'll be happy to connect you today. And maybe the answer is getting a little bit outside of town for a house that's affordable, but the house will be yours. Christina, great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Elisha Lopez, can you stick around for a little bit? All right, here's what we will do. A very quick break. When we return, You Have Real Estate continues. Hurricane season is here. People are preparing right now. You guys prepare like crazy in your house. You're buying canned food, water, power generators, the whole shebang prepared for hurricane season. However, when it comes to preparing for hurricane season, you need to prepare your air conditioning unit as well.
Yes, our friends at Old Ash gave us some awesome tips on what you should do before the storm. You should start by using a suitable anchor to support the outdoor condenser.
Keep the area of items around the AC unit clear, because they could always be ejected and really ruin your unit.
Yeah, keep the drains around the air conditioner unit clean as well to prevent water accumulation.
Because water entering that unit could cause a short circuit.
Consider using a weatherproof cover designed for AC units. This can protect the unit from flying debris and heavy rain.
Those projectiles.
Yes,
that's what we
the
call
things
them
you
here,
don't
right?
want to deal with.
During the storm, also install a surge protector for your AC unit to protect it from surges, of course, caused by lightning and power outages.
You should be sure to take a photo of your AC unit and document the serial number, because this information can be helpful when it comes to insurance claims.
As a note of interest as well, though, prior to the arrival of a storm or hurricane, you can lower the air conditioner in your house to keep it cool. That way it's already super cold, which you like anyway.
I do.
And then if the power cuts out, it takes a while to heat up the house.
When the storm does hit, keep the air conditioning unit off, because consistent power interruptions could cause damage to the compressors as well as other parts of the unit.
After the storm, inspect the condition of the unit, verify that it has not been damaged. If the equipment was not affected, turn on your AC.
I mean, yeah, and you should always keep cleaning your unit to avoid the accumulation of humidities and fungus and other bad things.
Exactly right. Thanks to Old Ash and Duquesne Air Conditioning for giving us an amazing unit number one and these amazing tips to protect your air conditioning unit during hurricane season. Welcome back. We close the show today. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around, Elisha. And, you know, I have this weird feeling in this market right now that things are really going to start picking up. So we were, obviously during the pandemic, the market was crazy. You'd sell a house in 3 hours, it seems like. And then through this year, really, and I think it's because more of the mortgage interest rates had gone up so much, the market stagnated just a little bit. But I feel a certain buzz with this real estate market right now that I think it's about to explode yet again. What do you see happening the rest of this year?
Actually, yes, we are definitely seeing the buyer interest completely picking up. Sellers are starting to get happy again because properties have been sitting on the market for a little while. So it's discouraging. But this past week to 2 weeks, we've really been seeing a huge influx of interest calls, buyers looking to get pre-qualified. So it's been awesome.
A lot of investors out there, I feel like, are getting priced out of certain areas. You look at the Disney World area, it has gotten really expensive for investors to buy there. There's this other part of Florida that you know well, obviously, Marion County. I love Levy County. I told you I once took that drive up to, I can't remember the name of the place. What was it? It's something on the West Coast, like in the middle of the West Coast. And I drove through Marion and then through Levy counties and then over to a different county. I can't remember the name of it. And that whole area feels somewhat untapped to me. Well, what do you see happening over the next few years in the Marion, Levy County areas?
It's just going to continue to grow. There was an article put out a couple months ago that said that Marion County within the next 5 years will become one of the largest metropolises in Florida. So we're a mini metro now, but I mean, that just says it all. Yeah.
But as that happens and demand grows over the next few years, that's inevitably going to grow the value of real estate as well. So while I think you live in Marion County, you probably don't see it as untapped. I think a lot of investors from other parts of the state, this is an untapped area and a wonderful place to invest. Where would you start? Let's say that you're an investor in Orlando or even down in Miami and you were going to look in Levy, Marion County. What would you do investment-wise?
Scan the QR code and contact me first.
Exactly.
And then when I reach, and give me the information on what it is that they need help with. And then when we connect, obviously I'll go through a series of questions, but it's really I mean, any investor needs to be realistic that if they're going to get into the investment piece of Marion County right now, they have to understand that there's been going on for a while. So those rock bottom prices don't exist. It just takes a little more patience and I guess being kind of savvy to where to find them.
And talking to a great agent broker who knows what they're doing and really knows all the players in that area. It can make all the difference when it comes to buying or selling real estate, having that person on your side like Elisha, who knows exactly what's going on. And in fact, there is a QR code right here on the screen, as she said. All you have to do is take out your phone, and that information, your information will go directly to Elisha, and she can keep you updated as listings come on the market. Or even better yet, if you live in Marion County or anywhere in northern Florida and you're watching this right now and you're thinking about selling your home, I'm always concerned that you're going to go to Zillow.com and you're going to think of that as gospel for the value of your home, and it's really not. Elisha will come over and give you a real valuation on your home so you know exactly what it's worth and what you're going to net if you sell it, because that decision is important. It's like, okay, after I go to this closing, how much am I going to walk away with? And that really is determined by what you owe, but also what you can sell it for. How do you really value a home? You're not Zillow, obviously. You are real boots on the ground. You're going to see the house. What do you look for when you value someone's home?
Well, it kind of gets complicated sometimes, because if it's that easy, like cookie cutter type of neighborhood, I mean, that just makes it easy. It doesn't take a lot of skill or experience to figure that out. But because Marion County has a lot of rural areas and there's like farms and with mobile homes, sometimes there's not another sale for a mile, 2 miles out. So you really have to know how to evaluate everything. And me personally, I actually use 3 different systems to pull values and to figure it all out, because I figure if one gives me one and the other 2 give me something, like there's something wrong there that I need to dig deeper.
Right. A lot of people actually do own property, whether it's a farm or even just vacant land in Marion County, Levy County, the whole northern Florida area. And they don't probably know what it's actually worth, and know that some of these places have significant value now because there are developers that are wanting to come in, and whether it's create a neighborhood, create a commercial complex, they could be sitting on a lot of money right now, someone who has land. How does that process work? What should I do to reach out to you to see what maybe my land or my farm's really worth?
So with vacant land, it's actually a really simple process for me, just because not only have I personally bought and sold my own land, but I mean, I've been doing it for over like 25 years in Marion County, and just watching that growth. You know, there's areas that used to be on a paved road that now have a paved road, and that plays a role, like that's a factor in the value. But even a lot of property owners are on dirt roads and they think, oh, my property's not worth anything. And they don't realize it is, because to build there is more cost effective to build where the paved road is. So that's affordability for first-time home buyers.
We always talk about all these people who are moving into the state of Florida, the migration from other states here, but there's really a migration in Florida as well from south to north. And I think that migration has certainly hit Ocala, and you're feeling it, but it's also still just way less expensive. The same house here versus in Ocala in Marion County, it's significantly less, I think sometimes 40% less.
Oh yeah, it still is. And like there's really good deals that come in. I know with condos and HOAs that we're like, sometimes, but I have one coming up that's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's fully remodeled. It's adorable. It's only going to be $149,000. So there's home affordability.
Elisha Lopez, thank you so much. Very quick break. No, we're done for the day. That's it. Unbelievable. Thank you to our amazing team. See you again next week for more You Have Real Estate.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.